Hi, beautiful people. This is Inspired with Seed and Zoe, and today's topic we are going to talk about things we learned in our marriage.
The reason why we wanted to talk about this topic is because we wanted to reflect, on our marriage. It's been 1 year and a couple of months. Actually, it's about 1 year, 10 months. About 1 year, 10 months, or 1 year, 9 months. So that's why we wanted to reflect on what have we learned, because at first when we came in here, we had different ideas. I actually had different ideas, but some things happened.
Okay, different ideas or things that you expected to
yeah
happen.
yeah so there's a lot of that, so we wanted to talk about reflecting in our marriage.
Okay. Yeah, so reflecting back in our marriage, things that we learned. There's so many things. There are so many things that I have learned personally. In our marriage. I learned so much from even the first day, like we stayed together after the wedding celebration and everything. When people went home, I learned that you can no longer make decisions by yourself because we needed a place to stay. So it actually tested both of us at some point, because now we got used to this thing of staying apart, omunye nomunye hlala endaweni yabo, but now we have to sort of put things together. So it actually challenged our decision making as a couple.
Mina, I think for me, marriage is one of those things that reveals your character.
That's true.
In moment of crisis, or in moments where you are cornered as a person, you tend to reveal who you are. For example, if maybe let's say I'm cornered financially, I tend to lying, I tend to borrowing. So you are cornered at that time.
That's true.
So marriage reveals who you are. Are you a patient person? Mina, I learned that I'm semi-patient.
Okay.
Have patience.
Have patience. At times have patience.
Yeah, at times, sometimes no. But have patience. Of which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. That's true. It's not a bad thing, because I'm there, as a helper. Some things I am going to sort of, compliment them. If maybe he's weak here, I will fill in the gap. So obviously, he won't be perfect and I won't be perfect. And as a team, together as a team, we can make this thing to work.
And I realized that the more when you are in marriage, it's just me and you. I started becoming attracted to learning about it. Remember, there was a time whereby we said we are the students of marriage.
Yeah.
We regarded ourselves as a student of marriage. And the more we went on, is the more I became interested in it. Like, for example, it's easy for me to choose a romantic movie over an action. Or a romantic comedy. There must be comedy in there.
But it was difficult at first.
Yes, at first it was difficult. But I feel like it's the more you become interested into it, because now I've got a lot of YouTube channels whereby I follow people who are in love. Like, for example, I find the one that is closest to me, who loves what I love.
Okay.
Then I tend to follow them, their marital advices and all those things. So the more you are in it, it's the more you want to learn about it.
That's true. And it's not always the case. At times, people don't want to have that willingness to learn, so at times it makes your marriage to be more difficult. And another thing that I have learned personally in our marriage is setting boundaries for our parents. From the on-go, setting boundaries and rules towards our parents, that this is what we will allow and this is what we will not allow. And to actually even go deeper in this, in what I'm actually saying. Great example, I told my husband, I was like, when in your family, when they are sort of acting a certain way that we both don't like, and we see that it's a red flag or a threat in our marriage, you are the one who has to face them. I don't have to stand up to them as umakoti, because in them they'll be like, oh bani uthazositshela yena ufike like toti kufika umafika izolo what ufuna ukuthini manje, you understand? Same as in my home, I have to stand up towards them and tell them, no, Sido needs respect. Whether my husband gets respect or not at home, I am accountable for that. I am to blame. If they don't respect him, I am to blame, because I have to make sure that they respect him. I have to make sure that they take good care of my husband, you understand? And Noguti, he is part of the family.
There was this time, years again, I think you were at a rehearsal. I left you at a rehearsal, and it was closer to her home. You know, when I went there, I only wanted to just come and chill. Yo, mama wangphakela ukudla okungakanani to show. And then I told her ukuthi hayi mama ngisuthi wathi mhlawumbe uzosithini uzosirasela ngasakphekela ngekhaya, you know. So it's being a team player, you know, having each other's back. I realized recently I realized that most of the time in life you try to impress some people whom you will not spend the next 50 years with.
That's true.
So for me, it is better to impress my wife than anyone else in the world when it comes to people, you know. Because I'm with you, and at the end of the day, when I go to bed, you are there with me. You know, that's one of the things. That is priority.
Yeah, that is priority.
Taking priority.
Yo, I've learned so much, guys. You know, I've learned so much. I've also learned that it is important not to use your emotions when you are fighting, when you are in a stage of conflict, whereby there's conflict. You know, it doesn't matter which day or whatsoever. Yeah, but like in marriage, you also encounter arguments, conflicts. So normally I'd use my emotions, and it wouldn't even work for me. So emotions, they don't resolve an issue, but instead they make it even worse.
Well, and we there was a time where we were talking about kids. Do you remember when we were talking about kids? We were like, you know, when I came to you proposing, I didn't say I want you to have my babies. I said I'm in love with you. Yeah, you're not Mama Bantuan. I'm in love with you. I want to have this relationship with you. So we decided we want to try our best that our kids don't come first, but they come second. Like for example, if we are fine, our kids will also be fine.
That's true.
So it was an eye-opening, you know, because that's when you start taking your relationship, your marriage seriously.
That is so true. Yeah, I'll shadeli umuntu to have kids with them. Shadeli because they have money. Shadeli for other various reasons that don't matter. You are getting married to the person because you feel that you can build with that person, and because you feel that you are purposed to be together, and you will do a purpose together. You know, there's something more even powerful than things that I have mentioned that has to glue you guys together. So yeah.
So there was the other time whereby I was thinking, looking at other older couples who have about maybe over 5 years of marriage. Most of the time when I have an encounter with them, when I talk to them, most of them, they kind of bring a negative vibe in marriage. You understand? For example, if you spend some time with the woman, she will be like, yo, I couldn't see me. They are smiling. When you spend the time with a man, you'll be like, yes, mentally. They are smiling. What I realized with you, each and every marriage is unique.
That's true.
Live your marriage. Pila umshado wakho and create your own environment. And I remember an own atmosphere. Yes. I remember there is my wife and kids, and I still do love my wife and kids. And before I got married, I had that mentality of, you know what, I'm gonna turn my marriage into my wife and kids to be vibe. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It does not get it. Sometimes meeting it whatever it is I'm with my wife and kids.
No, baby.
So,
Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You wanted me to be Jay.
You know?
Yeah.
So
guys.
it has to be unique. It has to be your own blueprint, your own handwriting. And you shape that before when you are dating, actually. That's what I realized as well.
It's true.
Because dating is also a foundation of marriage.
Yeah, it is, hey. And in your dating stage, you need to be sober-minded, guys. You need to be able to see what you're getting yourself into, and no surprises. No, I was reading a book earlier on, and it stated that, you know, a person, your spouse, when you are dating, it is so important for them to highlight you about their background, about their family, about anything that concerns them. You like it shouldn't be like you have sort of fallen in a trap or in a lion's den when you are marrying someone, like you're being and then now it gets too overwhelming, things gets too overwhelming for you, and now you don't know what to do because now you are in it.
There's another thing that I've realized is know your partner's love language. Know your partner's love language, because one of the clues of marriage is love. If I don't feel love, I will be still in marriage, but it will be cold.
Yeah.
You understand? So know your partner's love language. That's when I started learning about you. You know, try to make you happy. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you win. You know, but it is important to learn someone's love language. It is very sad to see someone I'm showing you the best love there is while you don't feel it. Because the person does not understand your love language.
Yeah.
And it does happen.
It does happen quite a lot of times. It does happen. Yeah, and another thing, you know, that I have learned, I know that I've been told my counseling sessions where it's finances. Finances, Kuti, there's no this thing of my finances and his finances, you know. We have to put everything together because we are building together, and there has not to be that thing whereby, you know, I hide money, he hides money. We put money on the table and we make sure that we just better ourselves in any way financially, and making sure we know back door. We are always honest, and for us to be honest, we normally do a budget, you know, family budget together, expenses, everything together. And
that is caused by a foundation, you know. It's because and funny enough, you might think all relationships are like that, and they're not. And you might think that every relationship whereby
has to be like
and you might think like every relationship whereby there is transparency works. Sometimes relationships where there is transparency does not work. You understand? It's every relationship has its own life, if I can say. It's different. You understand? Because sometimes what works for us is not going to work for other couples.
Okay,
that is why we are in community of property and some of couples are not.
Okay.
You understand?
So meaning that
Tina, for us,
I want to fix the part where, you know, it doesn't mean that when we are transparent to each other people don't need to be transparent to each other.
No, they do.
They do. It's just some boundaries that they set.
Yeah.
They are different from our boundaries.
Transparency is vital.
Yeah, in every
relationship. And relationship man decide okay, Tina, mina ngihola imali engaka, wena uhola imali engaka, ne? But imali yami eyakho eyakho.
Yeah.
But there is transparency ukuthi angazi ngibeke njani.
There is transparency how we are going to use it.
How we're going to use it.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is every relationship is different.
Very different.
So what else have you learned? Okay, question. What were your downfalls? What were your negatives of marriage in the past 2.5 years or 1.5 years?
My downfalls.
The negative part of it, whereby you feel like, no man, I shouldn't have done this.
Yo, baby, because I move from spotlight. And funny enough, baby, yo, on my downfalls, why me? Yo, like, okay, my downfalls, I knew that some things we will lose them, you know, but it wasn't in my mind. It was not something that is constantly being an awareness with you, we will lose some things. So when we lost them, it was a big disappointment. Yeah.
Sure, that's great. Okay.
So what's your downfall?
The negative part. Ish. Yo, that one is a hard one. Actually, I have not thought about it myself.
No, for the mere fact that you asked me, you
Not
know you
doing
do
that.
have a downfall.
Okay. It has been, one of our peak fights. Like when we fought, and that fight is, it was more intense than other fights.
Okay.
That's where I felt difficult, because at that time, you'd find us not understanding one another. Young John, I'm saying this and you are saying that, and I feel like there is a brick wall between us, because you don't hear me, I don't hear you.
Sure.
Those are the times where I felt like,
Okay. Yo guys, one thing that I've realized, I'm glad we chose this path of the YouTube channel, because some things he doesn't tell me. So now I know he wanted to pack his jokes. Yeah, by skill. Well, my take, I feel like, there are those healthy conflicts, there are those unhealthy conflicts. So it is normal for two people who come from different backgrounds to fight. Because at the end of the day, for you guys to come to one common ground, at times it won't be that easy. At times it's easy, at times we do just agree just like that and be like, yeah, baby, you are right, At times, because this thing has been shaped in me, and it has some sort of root. It's hard for me to understand some things. I'm like, no, angeke ngize understand the way afuna ngakhona. I am not coming to the party. You understand? That's why they say, marriage is about compromise.
Yes.
That's where compromise comes in. That's where you lay aside your pride and your ego. Yeah.
And what I learned is, above some things, you have to want to be in a marriage with you. I want to be in a relationship with you. So everything that comes my way and opposes that want, I'm going to fight. You understand? For example, if I have friends who have bad influence and I see that, no man, these guys are actually trying to destroy my marriage, I would leave them, because I want my marriage to work. There is a want thing, and after want there is action.
Oh wow.
I want to do this, so I'm gonna act according to it.
Okay. Wow. And yeah, lately he's been doing that. And another thing that I have learned is that marriage is like any other type of relationship, just that it is marriage. Like, what I'm trying to say is, when you are single, you face challenges.
Yeah.
When you are what do I call it, when you have a family, you face challenges. When you are married, when you have a job and you're working in a company, there's challenges there. So it's like any other sector, any other type of relationship. When you have a friendship, there's challenges there, there are fights there. So I don't understand why would people sort of magnify ama problems more than any other.
Yeah.
You understand?